Black family, how's everyone doing? We are back at it, and Harding University is back at it. Y'all, Harding University, hide your kids, hide your wife. Don't send your kids to Harding University. Harding University just can't get it right, man. And I'm going to continue to speak out against Harding University until Harding University reconciles and makes things right. I'm going to continue to speak out against them because I formerly attended Harding University. I know what I dealt with and experienced there at the school. I know what I dealt with. I know what a lot of my friends dealt with at the school in 2000. That's 2012. All right, my brother Botham, the brother who was murdered by Amber Geiger out there in Dallas in his own apartment. In his own apartment, this man got murdered on in a place he was paying for. He got murdered. That brother would be at the school, and a lot of times, when you would see Botham, he'd be surrounded by like 20 white people. White women love Botham, and white people in general love Botham. So every time you see Botham, he'd be around a whole bunch of white people. And me and Botham were good. Botham was a brother of mine, almost like a mentor more so, because he was a little more mature than me at the time. So he opened up the doors for a lot of opportunities at Harding University. And he was the first person I met there on campus. But at Harding University, they Christian Church of Christ school, but they don't know how to reconcile. I cannot make this up, y'all. Harding University's 2021 fall catalog is right here. This is the Harding University 2021 fall. Hopefully y'all can see that. This is the first two black undergraduate students. Let me make sure I put that up where you all can see it. These are the first two black undergraduate students that graduated from Harding University. And as you can see on the cover, it says, "Honor to who honor is due." This is their way of apologizing, black family. BSA group who's out there at Harding University, this is their way of trying to apologize for keeping blacks out of the school. A Christian group, this is their way of trying to apologize. They say honor to whom honor is due. Y'all can miss me with that. Y'all can miss me with that. Y'all, when I saw this, because I still get the newsletters from the school. I've gotten the newsletters for the last decade from the school. They're going to put two black men in their 70s and 80s, man. And no disrespect to those two brothers. Those two brothers were the first two to be undergraduate. This is 50 years after they graduated the school. This is 50 to 60 years after they graduated the school. Harding University is just coming around. Christian University, y'all. Church of Christ, leading Church of Christ Christian University. I would be embarrassed to do something like this. This is their way of apologizing. I would be embarrassed to, after my culture has oppressed, enslaved, murdered, raped people, and then tried to keep them from education and knowledge. I'd be embarrassed to be 50, 60 years later putting the first two black undergraduates on there and saying, honor to whom honor is due. Man. Harding University is going to have to make things right with the black community. They're going to have to make things right for the part and the role that they played in, one, keeping blacks out of the school, and two, the continued ignoring of the black community. The black community does not want this man George Benson's name. The president at the time, who was keeping blacks out of the school, who fought the government, who preached that it was God's will for segregation to be a thing, that president's name is on the building of the chapel building at Harding University. The students there petitioned to get the name off the building. They petitioned. A lot of students, alumni, faculty members, they all signed the thing. That president, I forget his name, President Bruce McCarty. I knew President Bruce McCarty. I'm not too proud of President Bruce McCarty. He's no longer the president. That's the funny thing. He's no longer the president. He sent out an email after that petition. He said, no, we're not going to change the name on the worship building at Harding University. 2 months later, we got an email that he got fired. God fired him. He said, we're not going to change the name on the building, but what we'll do is we'll create a statue for both of them. Nobody asked for a statue of both of them. The people who knew both of them knew both of them. We didn't ask for a statue to honor him. That's their way of trying to ignore making things right. White Christians are going to have to deal with this, especially white Christian institutions, because on an individual level, I know a lot of white Christians who they're very genuine in their love with the black family. But we have a lot of white Christians who are going overseas to mission work, abusing the children. We got a lot of, because they're unchecked, man. This is what you got to understand. If you're white, you are totally almost unchecked. All the world is taught to love you, even though you're oppressing them. Even though we're oppressed by their culture, we're taught to love white people. All the Prince Charmings are white. All the Cinderellas are white. Shout out to Brandy and Whitney Houston, though. But in general, everything you see is taught to love white people. And they're going to talk about honor to whom honor is due. No. Reconciliation to whom reconciliation is due. And judgment to whom judgment is due. You don't put two former graduate students on the cover and think that makes things right. Harding University, y'all gonna have to come out of pocket and give some scholarships specifically to the group that you all kept out of the school. The group that had to fight and shed blood to integrate all the schools in this nation, specifically the South, but all over the state. And you all call yourselves a Christian university. You all call yourselves one of the leading Christian Church of Christ universities. This is highly disrespectful. This, my brother called me right now from Harding University. Look at that. Speaking of God, I'm gonna have to call him back though, but that's my brother right there from Harding University. He graduated. I dropped out. My spirit wasn't right, and I see why. I see why my spirit wasn't right at Harding University. I had a lot of issues there, but at the same time, this is the type of stuff that Harding University does. They honor somebody 60 years after they graduated, talking about honor to whom honor is due. If you want to honor the black community so much, reconcile your wrongdoings. And you can do that by offering specific scholarships. I think they need to be full rides because we were fully kept out. So if you want to reconcile, you need to fully let us in there. And I'm talking about free of charge. I'm talking about free of charge, and y'all need to be giving stipends to the black students. There needs to be, you need to reconcile something, you need to overcompensate. 7 times, you need to compensate somebody double or 7 times as much as you took away from them. You kept us out of that school for years, calling yourselves Christians. Then the students came to you and asked for George Benson, the president's name, off the building, and you denied their request. Yeah, it's not good for you, Harding University. It's not good. This does not make up for anything. This does not make up for anything right here. And black family, black Christian family, we got to speak out against disrespect that happens, even if it's from white Christians. We are to a fault with loving white people, but also loving white Christians to the point where we can't call them out for wrongdoing. Harding University as a white culture has not made things right with black community, and they're being disrespectful by ignoring what the black community has requested and asked for, okay? I don't even really, and like, as I said, no disrespect to these two brothers. These two brothers were the first ones. As many of you know, we went out there to the school. We were able to get some stuff rolling with the Brothers and Sisters Association, turned into the Black Students Association. Is still standing today. They were trying to get that done for years before I went to the school. I didn't even know that. They were actually trying to do that for years before. We just went ahead and did it. We didn't wait for the school to give us permission. We didn't wait for the school to sign off on it. We just were like, we're going to go ahead and do that. That needs to be done. And everybody else got as a group. They tried to send us to the African Students Association. We're not African. We're African in one sense of the word, but we're not African. We're a whole different culture than just one continent's culture. Man, that President Bruce McCarty got fired just recently after he had sent out the email saying, we're not going to change the name on the worship building at Harding University. We're not going to change the name on the building, but we're going to make a statue for both of them. What? We didn't ask for a statue. And really what this whole article is about with the two brothers is they changed the administration building's name. So instead of taking down the name that the students asked for a name to be taken off, a name of somebody who was against their culture's progression into knowledge at a Christian university. They asked for that person's name to come down. The white people, the white Christians there, the white president there, Bruce McCarty, who's no longer the president, he says, we're not going to take the name down, but what we'll do is we'll honor two black people who are now at the end of their life. Let's be honest, they're at the end of their life, have endured blackness all their life, and we're going to put their names on the administration building. That's how we're going to honor the black community. And then talk about honor to whom honor is due. That's disrespectful, black family. That's disrespectful, highly disrespectful. We're not messing with that. I'll continue to speak against Harding University. A number of people have asked me they're like, my son's thinking about going to Harding University. I let them know. I said, hey, one good thing is we do got that Black Student Association out there. Brothers and sisters out there who are in that Black Student Association. I know some of you still listen. Y'all stand strong out there. Y'all keep that thing black. Keep the leadership in that group black. Don't be letting people in that group who don't let it be a decade from now. It's a white girl named Jane running the Black Student Association. Don't let that happen. Keep that group to yourselves. Y'all stand strong. Y'all is a part of a long history of that school. That school has a long history of racism that is still not being acknowledged. It's trying to be ignored. And there's no part of Christianity that talks about trying to hide your sins and hide your wrongdoings. Black people are very forgiving, obviously. Black people are very loving, obviously. We care for a lot of our enemies to a fault. White people have a fear that we as a culture are going to take revenge on them. And that's just not who we've been. Like, if we were going to do that, we would have done that. That's not who we are as a culture, really, to take revenge. But we are people who will eventually get and receive justice. And Harding University right now, it's prophesied against y'all. It's prophesied against y'all, Harding University, until you all make things right. And right now, as it stands, you all still have time to make things right, okay? That's all we're going to say about that there. Rest in power to my brother Botham John. God bless the soul of George Benson. I don't know what's going to happen with that man, because that man, yeah, they're still trying to honor a man who does not need to be honored in that way. Okay? All right, y'all. Y'all stay blessed. Continue this fight against white supremacy and against systematic white supremacy, even in white Christian culture. Not all white Christians are in this manner, but a large part of white Christian culture here in the U.S. has been wrong. Remember, the first slave ship that was brought over here was named Jesus. The first slave ship that is put on record. There were already slaves being brought over. There were already slaves, but the first one that they put on that English record of the ships is Jesus. All right, so we need to be mindful of that. Just because someone's Christian don't mean they're your brother and sister by their actions. These white Christians out here, they're not being brothers and sisters out here. They're ignoring their wrongdoing, and that's hurtful to us as a community and as a culture, okay? All right, peace and love, everyone, and y'all stay strong in this fight against white supremacy and this fight for justice. Remember, when we're talking about white supremacy, we're not talking about going out and fighting white people. We're talking about establishing a justice system, establishing a system that is going to make things right for a culture who has been wronged. We're not even talking about reparations and stuff like that when we're talking about Harding University. We're just talking about y'all need to offer some scholarships specifically to the students that you kept out. Specifically. It doesn't need to be a minority scholarship. It doesn't need to be an immigration scholarship. It needs to be a black descendants of slave scholarship. Scholarships. Y'all is doing everything except what needs to be done. Y'all are trying to throw honor everywhere except what y'all need to do. Okay? So that's it for that. We'll be back on here real soon, family. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay good. All right.